All right, hey now everybody. It's the Rob from 1061 Kiss FM and 103 GBF here with my buddy and my tag team partner in podcasting, Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
It's another home show. These can go either way on us. They've gotten away from us in the past.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm using my own personal laptop, and the only real I feel like the levels are usually better on these, and also I don't direct the show with these. Whoever's talking, it just kind of zooms in on. So when I'm talking,
Plus,
it'll be me. Yeah, good,
plus, we have an advantage.
good.
We have something that WWE Raw doesn't have.
What's that?
We have Brock Lesnar. Yeah, baby. He showed up for the podcast. We have him.
Do you think? Let me ask you. Do you think?
Bitch.
Do you think,
Yeah, bitch. Hey.
by the way, we're streaming on Kiss's old the old streaming account because it's not letting me log into GBF's today. I have the password and the user ID and stuff, but it's like we don't recognize this machine. We're gonna send your phone notification, and it's not set up for my phone, and they make it real difficult. So sorry about that for everyone who switched over to GBF today and today only. Whenever we do home shows, I guess it might be on the Kiss account, but. How you doing there, Jer?
We're doing okay. What did you think of Raw last night? Do you still continue to enjoy the road to WrestleMania?
Yeah, I feel like since Elimination Chamber, every Raw has been forward focused on WrestleMania. I'm not positive they know 100% what WrestleMania is going to look like, but they're still giving us things to get us there. Do you agree?
And I do agree. And last night they gave me something that I don't remember having last year that we have that I didn't think we were going to get this year. And that's kind of a genuine surprise. Like we all kind of thought Oscar was going to take on Charlotte. I'm sure we're not 100% sure what's going to go on with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but we have an idea that that's the direction they're going. We all know about Roman and Brock. We've known that forever. We know about Ronda and all that jazz. But then they went and surprised us last night. And I know there will be people that think that this is the burying of the entire tag division. But if Braun Strowman wins the tag championships by himself, I am going to be happy. And I'm going to mark out about that.
You know,
That was great.
I kind of wish WWE would take a look at like their WrestleMania 6 and 7. Because WrestleMania 6s and 7, they had a lot of matches, and some of them were short, some of them were long, but it's a very watchable show that got a lot of feuds addressed. And I feel like this year, there's so much that people are interested in and so much that they built for this particular show that instead of giving us less matches that are longer, I really feel like there's so much they can do here. We don't need to have every match be a multi-person cluster F. Let's just go ahead and, if it were me, I would book a lot more matches personally.
And I hope that's the way that they're going. Like I thought going in to the tag team battle royal that somehow we were going to end up with 6 teams that nobody really cares about fighting for the tag championships at WrestleMania. And this is going on the heels of probably a triple threat tag match for SmackDown. And I'm like, that's a lot of people. But now it looks like it's going to be Braun Strowman versus The Bar. And I'm so in on that.
Well, okay, I am in on that too, and I agree, but I'm going to be honest with you, Jer. I don't see it sticking that way. I just don't. It might.
I think that's such an interesting way to go about it. And the first championship he wins is the tag belts by himself. If that doesn't put him over, you know.
You know, it's not a bad gimmick, and it's never been done before. And Brock could be the guy to do it. I just still see. I don't. So what? Does every other tag team on Raw not have a spot on the show? I mean, if that's the case, fine. I really am an advocate of not everyone has to be on WrestleMania, but I just don't see it.
Well, remember, Rob, it's a long show, and it's got a 2 hour kickoff. It's a 5 hour show. I mean, it's 7 hours of wrestling. So I'm sure the other tag teams will show up. Nobody needs Heath Slater and Rhino at WrestleMania. Maybe they get a dark match. Maybe they get a kickoff, But
They don't even need
when
that.
I saw that tag battle royal, I was like, this is a terrible main event for Raw. And then Braun Strowman's music hit, and I went, oh my goodness gracious, they've genuinely surprised me here.
I feel like a lot on Raw was just getting us ready for WrestleMania, which is what we've been wanting since the Royal Rumble. Finally, some clarity with John Cena. No one's really surprised, I don't think. But
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was unique. Although I was a little confused. So it was his message. I'm either wrestling Undertaker or I'm watching in the universe. Is that the message?
Yes, that was the message. I guess I'm going to go as a fan, and that's cool by me because I love you fans. I'm going to drink this beer. I haven't had beer in my entire life, but I'm going to act like I like it. I'm going to hang out with this dude that I'd never speak to on the street in a million years, and I'm going to be relatable, and you're going to stop booing me for a minute. And I'm going to get in the ring. I'm going to call it The Undertaker. He is the master of getting that crowd to go from hating him to loving him to hating him to loving him. He's the master.
I mean, and I've been no different. When he's not in the world title picture, when he's not in the main event, I don't like the guy. I love the guy. I think he's so good at stuff like this. I would love to know, was that a working beer or a shoot beer? Okay, let me check that again. Was it a working stranger's beer or a shoot stranger's beer? What do you think?
It was a new beer. I don't think that I know that much.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a plant was given, a beer to give to John. I don't know what it was.
Because that's risky. That's something I don't even think I would want to do. Like just jump into the crowd and take some scummy looking dude. That dude looked scummy. Take some scummy looking Wyatt family rejects beer out of his hand and share lips with him. Listen, you and I were at a water park. And I ended up having the same log flume as some dude that had lesions all over his body. And I itched for weeks just in my brain. All because your fiance was like, you have the same flume as him. And I was like, no, Scratchy Dan. And so I'd never take a glass of beer from the guy. So I think maybe it was a work beer, but who knows?
All right.
Rolling the dice.
Post to Post universe on the Post show. We want to know, what do you think, working beer or shoot beer? I'm going to go work beer, but neither way would surprise me.
Also, speaking of work or shoot, it's clearly a worked shoot with Roman, and I don't know if you thought of me last night, but when they're following Roman back, I'm like, please go to Gorilla. Please show us the gorilla position. Please show us the gorilla position. And then they went back into the gorilla position, and that's all it took. I was thrilled. I love when the camera goes back into gorilla. I think it's great.
I don't think any of what Roman said, because we got into this conversation before, I think 2 weeks ago, the last Raw that you held recap. I didn't get any sort of a shoot vibe from that, with the exception of it's just, it is how he genuinely feels, but that was all what they wanted him to say, I feel like.
I also think that it's very creative that I had read that Brock Lesnar was over his scheduled amount of dates and was being kind of dicky about it and wasn't going to do all of the dates leading up to WrestleMania. And if that's true, they've booked this perfectly. They're booking it as he's no-showing. And I think that's awesome. It's very powerful that he's not there. And if he bails on him again next week, I think that's even better. You don't need Brock Lesnar. And I think that's to a point that you've said before, that it's like, let the title be present. He doesn't have to be on every show, but don't just ignore the fact that the Universal Championship is out there.
Yeah, and they're booking it in a real win-win way, as far as, like, they're going to get their moment with Roman. Like, they're going to get him over as the crazy babyface, and then they're going to bury Brock just by proxy. Or maybe not by proxy, but just like, he'll lose the title and the fans are going to want to see him gone. So it's really working in their favor, because they've even gotten me to the point, and you've said it, People on the post show have said it, Steve, Mike, everyone's like, we don't need him anymore. And we don't. We weren't like that last year.
Bitch.
You said it. I'm trying to think of some of the other highlights of Raw last night. It was a very watchable show. I feel like the Intercontinental title scene is just messy heading into WrestleMania, because I feel like this was one of those shoehorn things as far as we need Balor on the show, we need Rollins on the show. Let's just throw them in there with Miz because we took Braun Strowman out of that match.
Yeah, so I see. I gave that segment last night a solid C+ because the Miz is great as always. He knows what he's doing.
A real highlight on the show to me.
What'd you say?
He's a highlight of Raw week in and week out. Not necessarily last night, but
he really is. And that segment was good. It was average. It was what you'd expect from the segment. The match between Finn and Seth was great. They don't have bad matches, but I'm not thrilled for this. I'm not really thrilled for this Intercontinental Championship match. I'd rather see either one of those two take on the Miz in a one-on-one match than a triple threat. Finn Balor's still not doing it for me. I wish they'd bring the Demon. Now he's changing the color of his leather jackets, and that's not wowing me much. But they're putting on good matches. I don't know. I think that's the stuff that gets over in the indies, but it doesn't work in the WWE, is that just a good match isn't enough. I need to care about it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. And you mentioned bringing out the Demon, and I actually don't know that I want the Demon. I mean, I do because it's WrestleMania, but I don't because at least at this point in time, it's not warranted from a storyline point of view.
The Demon doesn't make any sense here right now, and I wish that it did.
But only because it's Mania.
That whole Sister Abigail thing. That's when the Demon went away.
Yeah, but I don't want it every pay-per-view. I wanted to have a storyline. But then again, it's like I want him to be different when he's the Demon, and that doesn't seem to be happening either.
He could take some notes.
Say it again.
He could take some notes from Matt Hardy on that.
That's where I wanted to go to next. While I am, I would say, pretty excited to see what WWE has cooked up for their version of the Final Deletion, I will maintain I still think this is rushed. This feels like something that should happen at Mania, but Mania is too crowded.
Mania is too crowded. Plus, I think that they're afraid of the House of Horrors. I think that WWE is afraid to put 30 minutes on a screen in front of a live Mania crowd instead of 30 minutes in the ring.
Why?
I think that's what's happening. I think they'd rather disappoint a crowd, a Raw crowd, than a Mania crowd. And the Ultimate Deletion doesn't happen in the ring. The Ultimate Deletion is a TV show for all of us to watch. So while I think that it does make more sense at Mania, from a crowd perspective, I think they kind of learned their lesson at the Raw 25 that if you make a crowd like that sit for too long watching a show, they will turn on you.
Where are you getting the 30-minute figure from?
It was just that was a guesstimate. I mean, like the what was it? It was the deletion or the Final Deletion. Was that the original one? Right? I watched that, and that was close to 30 minutes.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean this needs to be. I don't want to see a 30-minute thing on Monday.
I hope that's not what it is. But it could be. I mean, we watched a 90-minute, almost a 2-hour gauntlet match. You think they're not going to give this Ultimate Deletion 30 minutes? I think they will.
No, I'm going to take the under on 30.
All right.
That's way too much, personally.
I'm not one at 30. I don't think I'd mind it, though, either. As long as it's good. I noticed some weird things. It's just like Matt Hardy's like, he's crazy and he's woken and he's going to have it at his house. But and he shows the compound, but it's just like a regular dude with money's backyard. I mean, there's a GD play set in the background. I mean, there's a swing set in the yard.
Right. It feels very much like when my friends and I made the TWF in my backyard, the Trampoline Wrestling Federation, and
I would have said that Brother Nero would be showing up in this. However, with the DUI, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. I don't know when they film. I don't know when they filmed this deletion, but I thought this would be a great opportunity for Jeff Hardy to show up.
The DUI happened after it was like immediately after the filming. And I actually am in the camp, believe it or not, that thinks that this is not going to affect him that much. They issued like the same exact statement they issued following Jey Uso's arrest. And I swear. And and he is not facing any penalties. And, I don't know how far we need to go with this stuff. Like Vince is talking about how in the XFL, even a DUI is too much for their football players to have, their role models. But I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I don't want to pardon anything or make anything seem
people should lose their livelihood because of a DUI. I don't. I worry about Jeff Hardy because he has a history of abuse, and I worry about his well-being because I think that when he goes down the hill full bore without wheels. So that's, I worry about that. But, I know people that have gotten DUIs, and they're not terrible people. I just worry that this could be the slippery slope. And as I believe it was Mike or Benny, one of the two, had said, like it's all fun and games until, Sting's dragging him from the back and pinning him in the ring, and it's a mess on TNA pay-per-view.
Let me also make very clear that would never in a million years happen in WWE. They would not let him past Gorilla in WWE in any shape.
He would not have gotten through there.
Correct. He would have been sent home long before. I don't care if he was the world champion or not. It would just not happen in WWE. But I don't think we're going to – I don't think we're going to see him terminated because of this or even really punished. Again, it's the same thing with Jey Uso, and I don't know that Jey Uso needed to how much of a black eye on the company is it? How I heard John Cena got detention when he was in 7th grade. How far are we going to go with this?
Sure.
Enzo, I get. Enzo, allegedly did a pretty horrific rape on a girl. Again, allegedly. I get that one.
Boy, his Instagram, which he was posting on nonstop, has just shut down. Everything Enzo is just on hold.
I gotta be honest, from like a selfish as a fan, I miss Enzo. I mean, they make it the right choice. If I were in a position of power, I would have done the same thing probably. But
trust me, 205 Live misses him too, because they're not on Raw anymore. They're in the middle of this tournament that nobody gives a poop about.
Dude, they haven't been on Raw in weeks.
And nobody misses it. Nobody's saying, where are the cruiserweights? Nobody.
I've been thinking it, although I'm not saying I'm missing it.
Nobody.
I'll tell you what, boy, what seems to be flopping hard is that mixed match challenge dealio.
It was fun for a minute.
And I wouldn't even go that far.
It was fun for me for a minute. It was interesting to watch a couple of these teams and the mismatches and them sharing entrances and gimmicks a little bit. But then it's like I'm not watching it, and I'm just not watching it. I don't care. In fact, you're putting some people. I mean, if Asuka and Miz don't win, you're putting Asuka's win streak at risk. You've got Braun Strowman and Alexa. Like there's no need to put them through this, and you're not. That's a failed experiment, and I'm kind of glad that it is.
Yeah, I don't want to consume media on Facebook. I want to. Go ahead.
I agree. If this was a huge success, we'd get more things like this, and I don't want that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm cool with more like tournaments. Like I wish we could have like a King of the Ring, even if it played out like Mixed Match Challenge on the network. I don't need it on Facebook with all the flaming taints.
I also don't like the fact that tournaments take 10 weeks. Yeah. I like a one-night tournament.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I missed that style.
Yeah.
I want to. You mentioned Alexa Bliss for a second, and I want to again give her kudos. I think she did a fantastic job last night in the few responsibilities that she had. I liked like the camera being on GTV style at first. They kind of explained it with Charlie Caruso, who I also think is pretty good. She's getting there at least. Mm-hmm. But that stuff that went out to the the Titantron and everything, like with Jax. Like they've made this a feud that I genuinely care about, Bliss and Jax, and I want to see it play out at WrestleMania, not on the pre-show, on the main show. It doesn't need to be 25 minutes. It can be 7 to 12 minutes long, and I'll be fine. But I want to see it on the main show, and I care about it.
I love that the picture's getting clearer. You know, when Asuka was still in the mix and they were like spinning their wheels waiting for Charlotte to get through Fastlane, you didn't know what they were doing. It made more sense for Alexa and Nia Jax to have a feud, but then that was never going to happen. Asuka goes over to Charlotte. Now we're setting up the Alexa and Nia Jax thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all these things are starting to fall into place. Bayley is going to turn heel on Sasha at some point. These things are all starting to line up. Much better storytelling and much better build-up for Mania. Whether you like the matchups or not, people will complain they don't like Braun in the tag thing. They don't like Cena and Undertaker. You will hear complaints about matchups. That's not what I'm talking about. The build and the storytelling is much better than it was last year. Last year's Mania build was terrible.
And you make another really good point too, in that if you get Bayley and Banks to I don't care which one's heel, which one. I actually would prefer Sasha as the heel, I think, but whatever. That's what, 4, if you include Ronda Rousey, matches from the women's division that I genuinely care about. Genuinely. And that's for 4 women to have singles matches that I care about. That's never, I don't know if there's 4 women's matches in history I've cared about.
Right. I just hope they don't gum some of them up by they want to get all the women on. So they're going to find a way to throw them all in a match.
I thought for sure when they started that video tribute to Fabulous Moolah, who I'm still surprised is being heralded as the hero that she is when it's become so public knowledge that she was really not such a great human being. I don't know how in the know you are on that one. She was very much like a pimp to any female wrestler prior to 1986. Would send girls into territories where they knew they were going to allegedly be sexually abused, would oftentimes trade women to promoters for sexual favors, and was just you can watch documentaries on it where she's just not the hero she's been portrayed to be, at least from my understanding.
Sounds unsavory.
Yeah, but whatever. I thought for sure they were going to go a different direction with that besides just it's National Women's Month. I thought it was going to be, we're going to have a Fabulous Moolah Memorial Battle Royal with the women.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, but they just did the Mae Young tournament,
Yeah, but I'm thinking one match at Mania because, the girls have to be with the guys every time. If there's an Andre the Giant Battle Royal, why not a women's one? And who would get the namesake? That would be Moolah.
The Andre the Giant Battle Royal, as much as I've always loved the Andre the Giant, and I love the sentiment, that's a match I just don't care about ever. And who wins it doesn't matter to me.
I register it a little bit. Oh, I apologize for that. I apologize for. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got lost there. Okay. I care about the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal a little bit in that usually it means something for whoever wins it. Like, for example, it was Mojo last year and Rob Gronkowski got in the ring. It's been Cesaro, and it was kind of like a King of the Ring win that we've kind of focused on these people, at least for a little bit.
Well, Cesaro for sure, and I can give you Baron Corbin when he won. That was a big thing for him. Mojo, they've kind of wasted his heel turn, and that's not really working out for him. But he did have a little bit of a moment there. You're right.
So that was Steve texting me, and he was saying that he says that he believes they are planning a Moolah Memorial Battle Royal. And I would be cool with this because if we have to get all these women on the show, I'd rather see those 8 women that we already talked about in their own matches. And if we have to get all the other women on, let's do it in a Battle Royal in one match and like a shot. Which I got
all of it. And they seem to be mixing the brands anyways. I think they're getting ready for the pay-per-views with the mixed brands. And eventually I think they're going to undo the whole separated rosters. It just seems like they're on their way to doing that.
I feel like they'd be so stupid not to, just because of like they're really running into writer's block with the limited roster that they've given themselves. And they would have a killer roster if they mixed it all together, and they've got 2 lackluster ones right now without them mixed.
Right. But what's frustrating and weird is even with the limited rosters, they're not using some of the guys that, like, Rusev is as over as anybody, and they're just not using him. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that I don't know what their thing is with him. I mean, he's more over now than he was when he was feuding with Cena.
I know. When he was like undefeated, unbeatable, the Bulgarian brute, and he was the United States champion for a long time. He had a big undefeated streak. Nobody could beat him. He's more over now. He's just out of this world. And they're not using him. I don't know.
I feel like they're just kind of pigeonholing him into that, like, I guess I'll use the comparison to like Santino or like that comedy role where they just kind of they want him to be the funny guy, which he does. They want him to sell the Rusev shirts, the Rusev Day shirts, which obviously he does. But they just see him in that capacity, which is so weird because he's so big and like so capable of being a champion.
He's capable of being a legitimate threat, I think, to the world title, no matter who has it. Like, I feel like if they just gave him a nudge, let him go on a tear, he could believably feud with AJ Styles. He could believably feud with Brock Lesnar. He could believably feud with anybody that would have the belt. Roman Reigns. He's a big guy, and he's got a good moveset, and he moves really well, and he's in better shape than he was when he was feuding with Cena. So I don't get it either.
I hate to go back. Steve just sent me this. He says this is from last night. Did we miss something? Steve has sent fake pictures in the past.
He blew me up with the Charlotte stuff. I missed it. His reputation precedes him, but he's also been solid as a rock before too.
I feel like I gotta be honest with you. I am in a bit of a haze. I got a procedure done on my back this morning. I was under anesthesia this morning. I feel like, did they announce Steve? Even if it's Steve, did they officially announce that is happening, or did you see that? Like, someone help me. I feel like they may have done that, and I just can't remember.
Yeah, and I missed it.
In the meantime,
when they were doing, because the Moolah memorial thing, when that was happening, I remember specifically I was like changing over laundry and I was doing stuff.
Correct. So. Yeah, I've got my future mother-in-law staying with us this week, and I haven't been.
Oh boy, that's fun.
All right, hold on. Steve says that was on the end of the Moolah tribute, and again he said sorry about Charlotte. All right, so they are having. So I actually will say that's probably good news, because I would honestly rather see a Moolah Battle Royal than like a 10 Diva tag match again.
Oh, we've had so many of those. Yeah.
And also keep in mind, I bet you we could see an NXT call-up or several in a women's Battle Royal.
Sure, and I think we'll see some guys too.
Well, not in the women's Battle Royal, but yeah. I would.
No. You know what I mean.
Although that could be a cool spot for Velveteen Dream.
You know.
Boy, Takeover WrestleMania weekend is looking hot too.
Yeah, and they go into that whole thing trying to steal the show.
I know, and oftentimes they do. Want to speak the name of? Did you catch the jobber's name yesterday?
What was it? Was it Joan something? I think.
Very good. That would be Joan King.
Joan King.
And I will say,
Joan.
I missed you there, Jer.
We speak your name, Joan.
We certainly do speak your name. Is there anything else we need to chat about from Raw tonight?
I have one thing to say, and I think you're going to disagree with me because you did on the post show, and I stayed quiet about it. I have never been that big of a fan of Kid Rock, but I think his induction into the Hall of Fame makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty much the most interesting pick, I think, of this class.
The most interesting pick of this class by far to me is Jeff Jarrett. By far.
That's good. But okay. I think Kid Rock is when you look at it, at first you're just like, Kid Rock, really? But he did theme songs for people. He did the American Badass theme, and I can't take credit for this because I read this on a board or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if Undertaker came out as the American Badass.
Stop it. Stop.
They say he retired the Undertaker, and American Badass comes out. It would make sense. They're going to have Kid Rock on the show.
If I could poke one hole,
motorcycle.
Let me poke one hole in that though. While what you're saying did make sense,
because Cena did call out Undertaker on a very personal level last night.
Let me just poke one hole.
It was dead man talk. It was on your wife's Instagram, and it was personal.
I want to poke a hole. Poke a hole. If he did, okay, so you're saying he retired all the dead man stuff at the last year's WrestleMania. He left the hat and the jacket in the ring. When we saw him at Raw 25, he was clearly dead man Taker.
Yes.
So I will take a hard no on a Kid Rock entrance for Undertaker or the motorcycle gimmick or any of that. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it is. I'm going to take a hard no on that. And let me give a few thoughts on Kid Rock. So I'm glad you brought this up because I kind of forgot all about it. I do think, so you said, as someone who was never a fan of Kid Rock, I used to be a big fan of Kid Rock.
Well, that one album, the album with Ball with the Ball, I thought that was an incredible album. And
that's one of my top 30 favorite albums ever. Love that album.
It's absolutely great. And he's found his way onto country radio. He's found it with All Summer Long. Like he's been versatile and he's done a good job musically, even though I don't love it.
Yeah.
But with his involvement with the WWE, it's Hall of Fame worthy as far as celebrities go.
That's the thing. As far as celebrities out there, he never came to mind for me. I don't know why. For me, still the dream induction, the one I feel like who's most deserving that's still out there is Cyndi Lauper. But let's talk about Kid Rock for a second, and you're right. So here's what I think about Kid Rock. He has been very involved with wrestling. He did The Undertaker's theme song. He did Stacy Keibler's theme song on the Forcible Entry album, a cover of ZZ Top's Legs. He's performed numerous times on Raw. I forgot about a tribute to the troops. He's performed at WrestleMania. He's doing this year's WrestleMania theme. He's so involved musically with wrestling that it does make a lot of sense. Now, I also want to let people know, so in real life, nowadays, and I don't care what your political leanings are, he's crazy annoying. He's really, really annoying to the point that, I listen to the Howard Stern show every day.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 months ago, he was on Howard's show, and it's been a long time since he had been on there. And I always used to look forward to his segments because he was usually a really good interview. Not only would I describe the interview as insanely annoying, I would call it maybe the most annoying interview I've ever heard on that show ever. Literally.
Is he like Ted Nugent crazy at this point?
Crazy might not be the best word to describe him. He's just really annoying. I don't know how else to describe it. The words he chooses is annoying. The things he says is annoying. He comes off extremely pompous and just super annoying. And I don't want to see that speech.
Yeah, okay. So I can give you that he's annoying, but that doesn't disqualify someone from being inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's still, the body of work is the body of work, even if he's super annoying. Hulk Hogan is annoying too.
I can meet you there. I mean, listen, there's Hulk Hogan annoying, and then there's Kid Rock annoying. Trust me.
Trust me, please.
I don't know why more people aren't excited about Jeff Jarrett's speech. He's going to have by far the most interesting speech of the night.
Spend my days working hard on the go.
And cut. I can't have singing on here. I just can't.
That wasn't even 4 measures. That was 2 measures.
I understand. So I think we got everything. Remind me tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow about the tubular turtles or whatever.
Turtles.
Yeah, the turtles. Remind me about the turtles tomorrow. I'll do it on the SmackDown recap. And
Okay.
I do want to say I am excited. At least I'm the most excited I've been for a SmackDown in a while because Raw, once they got over that hurdle of Elimination Chamber, smooth sailing to WrestleMania. Really hoping SmackDown follows suit tonight.
Yeah, they only have 4 to do it, so let's buckle up, guys.
All right. So hey, thank you for being with me here. I didn't really tell other people, but I didn't go to work today. I had to get a procedure done on my back today. So tomorrow I'm going to be back at work. So we'll be back at our normal time slot on the GBF channel and with the phone lines going. So we should be ready to rock and roll tomorrow, Valeri.
Bitch.